Welcome, listeners, to the PPC, the Paparazzi podcast. I am Jedi, coming to you live from Hollywood Studios. This papisode is brought to you by Josh Wingerter Art, all the way in New Orleans. He has sponsored the last two papisodes. I'm wearing his back to school design t-shirt, and as you can see, Mark is wearing his Barney Fife Punisher matchup over there. So visit his website, joshwingerter.art, where you can purchase those, and you can also purchase these amazing lunch boxes, which at the moment is holding my beverage of choice for the night, which I'm very excited to get cracking.
Mine as well. So we will do both.
Yeah, I'm going to crack it now. I'm very thirsty, and like I say, I'm very excited to drink it tonight. I am drinking a Guinness, which, like I say,
lovely.
Just cracks beautifully. Cheers.
Since the Guinness needs no introduction, I will be pulling my beer out of my lunchbox. Ready? What is in the lunchbox today?
Oh, look at that.
Oh, and did you like that little flip right there? That was great.
I did, mate. I did.
What's in mine is an AleSmith Juiced Stand Hazy IPA. Found this at the Beverage Warehouse. Have you ever heard of this place, Jedi?
I haven't.
The Beverage Warehouse is, from what I understand, is the original Bevmo.
Oh, okay.
So basically, these guys have been around for years. They've had this wholesale, gigantic warehouse liquor store, and Bevmo stole the idea from them for their model.
Incredible.
And these guys are still around down in Marina del Rey.
Wow.
Or Culver City, one of the two.
So it went from like the Beverage Warehouse, and these other guys thought, you know what? We could sell beverages, but we could sell beverages and more. So we'll call it Bevmo.
Exactly. And then they stole the same model, and then they opened up Bevmos, supposedly. Correct me if I'm wrong, Beverage Warehouse and Bevmo. You know, I don't want to offend anybody, but this is what I've heard. And on my way home, every once in a while, I go to the Beverage Warehouse, and they've got insane deals, and they've got tons of alcohol. And I went in there to find a whiskey today that I heard about on one of my whiskey podcasts, and they were out. So I ended up purchasing beer, and here we are.
That looks good. Crack it.
Well, I got to put it into the brewmate first. See, we got two different sounds now because of the brewmate. We got the brewmate, drop it.
Oh.
And then we got the crack.
Oh, wow.
All over my
Look
computer.
at that. Some spillage as well.
Oh, that is good. I need to get myself a napkin so that I can wipe off my brand new computer so I don't get any of that beer in the crevices.
Yeah, can't be having any of that.
No, not at all. So, Jedi, how have you been, sir?
I've been all right, mate. This is the first time I've turned my laptop on since the last podcast, so needless to say, I haven't taken any pictures. But I can divulge. I can talk about what I was working on in Vegas.
Finally,
if you want to start with that, it's nothing too exciting.
Still,
it was nice though. It was a nice change for me. I got to do some nice portraits of this person. It was a stripper, a male stripper though.
Okay.
So not the genre of person I'd usually photograph. But this young gentleman was an ex-boyfriend of Phil Collins's ex-wife, who had recently married another younger gentleman without telling Phil. She moved him into his house in is it Palm Beach, Florida, something like that. But anyway, this guy she was dating before this other younger one that she married. So she was shacking up with this stripper while she was still married to Phil Collins, I believe. And we did a sit-down interview and pictures with him. And we'll post something up on the Instagram, and you'll see something right now if you are watching this podcast on YouTube or on Social Nostra,
Yeah.
IG. So yeah, there you go. There it is. These are the pictures. I took like 700 frames, and as you can see, they used just one picture of him with his shirt off. So
Sounds like usual.
yeah, the 3 hours of editing that I did. Yeah, there you go. One picture, but it was a nice job. You know, it's always nice to do these newspaper kind of sit down stories where you get to you get to be an artist. You get to set it up how you want it, and having like this, like I say, this guy was a stripper. He was also a model as well. So it's nice working with a model, somebody who knows what they're doing. It was a nice, easy shoot. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoy that type of photography.
Well, and it's a side of our business that nobody really even gets to see. You know, they would look at the pictures that you're talking about. They would look at the article that you're talking about. They would probably never think it was a quote unquote paparazzi type of story. It was just a photographer
Yeah,
sitting down with a story and taking photos as the interview or the story went on.
yeah, it
Right?
was fun.
Yeah. The way it should be. It's one of the avenues of this business that people don't usually see, but it's what we do. And we're not just all red carpet savages as usual, right?
Yeah, we're not.
And it also goes to show, if I may, Jedi, that your agency has entered the fourth dimension
Ooh.
of depth of story. Because it's not only a friend of a friend or a friend of a friend. It was a relative of a friend of a friend of an ex-wife of a friend of a friend of a friend.
There you go.
Nice.
Good stuff, mate. What have you been up to? Anything exciting?
There's always a little bit of excitement happening.
Have you been getting into trouble or staying out of trouble?
I always stay out of trouble, Jedi. You know that.
Yep.
It's not me that gets into trouble. It's trouble that comes looking, right? And that's what happened on a movie set that I was on recently. Well, it was more like a video set, but I was out looking for a movie set. I was in downtown. I had a couple of sets that were on my list, and I was downtown looking at this Kate Hudson set. Went out there earlier in the morning, but I do those things where sometimes I don't check the call times.
Yeah.
And I'm more concerned about the scene, and I'm more concerned about where it is before I check out the call times. And then I drive all the way out to where I go. And then I check the call times and I realize, oh, it's a night shoot.
Oh, I'm 12 hours early.
Yeah, exactly. A little early. So I'm sitting there looking, and I see another spot on my list that didn't look good at all. It just was a random name and random stuff that I've never heard before, and it was all the way on the other side of town.
But what was it? Was it a real life person or was it another handbag?
That's what we were supposed to be talking about. Yes.
No, that's what we spoke about last time.
I know. That's exactly. Oh, we did talk about Mickey. Yeah, exactly. No, it was a real. I didn't know. It was the same thing as that. Actually, Mickey was a sure thing that I thought was going to be a sure thing, but it didn't turn out to be a sure thing. This was similar, but it looked even worse, and I wasn't even going to do it. And it was a good, half-hour drive, 45-minute drive to go and just check it.
Ugh.
And it's one of those where you go, if you're going to go there and you're going to check it, and it turns out to be crap, you're done for the day, because you're not going to drive all the way back to go look for something,
Yeah.
So checking it out looked like a decent photo shoot. It was just a few Winnebagos and just a few trucks, but I did see a dark, there was the vans that were taking people to the set, which was over by the beach. But then there was one Mercedes Sprinter van that was sitting on the back of one of these Winnebagos that looked familiar from a few weeks ago.
Oh, shit.
From one of the podcasts that we had, talked about before.
Okay. I've
very familiar, but it wasn't the same one.
Hmm.
It wasn't the same one, but it just looked familiar, sitting there waiting on the backside of this Winnebago, right? I saw the security guards that were kind of milling around and checking it out. One of the security guards jumped in and pulled it around to the front of one of the Winnebagos, like they were about to pick the person up. and it just reeked of Justin Bieber.
Oh, that's a good smell right
So
there.
exactly. So I'm kind of getting excited. I don't know. I haven't got a frequency yet. I can't hear anything yet. And I see the security rolling around and they all look familiar. I don't know them that well, but they all look familiar to me. But as I'm sitting there watching it, I see there's a bunch of wardrobe going on and there's people that are sewing the wardrobe together right there out in
Wow.
front of the trailer. They have these huge racks full of clothes and they're sitting there sewing. Like, have you ever seen Three Amigos?
Hmm.
Like, when they decide that they need to all be Three Amigos and they need to, do the whole decoy thing of the Three Amigos, and they ask the village, what do you know how to do? What do you know how to do? What are you good at? And they go, we know how to sew. And he goes, so like the wind. And then they make a whole bunch of Three Amigos costumes. That's what they were doing.
Huh.
There was just a whole bunch of sewers and they were sewing all sorts of crap. I don't know what it was, but every time they would bring something up, I would look at it and it would say Bieber on it.
Oh, there you go.
So we knew that it was a Justin Bieber shoot, right? So I'm looking at the info I have. I'm trying to figure out what song it is, any info I can about it. There's nothing there. I'm watching the front of the trailer. Justin comes out in his tidy whities. He just jumps out, no shirt on, no nothing. He's just in his tidy whities. And he's out there and he's like trying on outfits right out in front.
Wow. And you could see
So
all
I
of
get a
this.
little, yeah. Well, and I shoot it. I'm shooting it as best I can. It's just dark. It's far away and it's dark and it's just it's a horrible situation for the lens I have and the light that it's in and stuff. But I'm shooting it anyway. I don't care. I can fix it in post. And then I get a little bit of video of it. Then the security guard jumps in the van. He goes back in. He changes. He throws on his clothes real quick and he jumps in the van and he goes to set. Right. Now I know at this point what's happening and I have the info. It's supposed to be there for a couple of days. So I know that they're going to be at one location. They're going to be at another location, but Justin Bieber's security is kind of gnarly.
Yeah, I've heard.
From what I
Yeah,
know.
I've heard they're crazy. Like they're on it as well. Like they're usually aware if there's people taking photos, they know what kind of cars to look for. Yeah, I've heard that they can just be troublesome. They'll do whatever they can to protect Biebs from getting his picture taken.
I'm thinking the same thing, and I'm thinking, I can't really just sit around and wait for the end of the day for the best shot, or I can't wait to see if it gets better, or if this is something good here. I have to get it. I got to get what I can. I got to get it and get it over with, right? And especially to test out the security to see how vigilant they are at the
Yeah.
time, or how much they, how lenient they are with me at the time. But they're in a place that I know of. They're in a spot where I've shot many shows, many movies, many times. So they go out to the beach. They go out to a place where they've blocked off. It's a big, huge kind of break wall that you can drive out to the end of. But they've got half of it blocked off. So the van drives out and I'm stuck at a parking lot where I'm a good, quarter mile away from where they're actually shooting. I park up. The only thing I can do is bag up and walk down the beach and check it out as best I can and try and be as discreet as I can.
Absolutely.
So
discretion is key.
At least you try to be, right? So what I do is I actually strap a GoPro to myself. Okay. And I've done this a few situations when I know things are going to go down. This is one of those situations. I wanted to get something for the podcast. So I put a GoPro on my backpack. I put my 1-4 in my bag. I can hear everything they're talking about. And I start walking down the beach. But there's no one on this beach. There's people out on the beach that are, far away from where they are. But where they are, there's nobody.
Wow.
So I'm a lone guy walking down the beach in my tennis shoes with a backpack on. Okay. And I've got a earpiece in my ear. It is just bait for Justin's security.
Yeah. So
right?
Yeah, they knew then. Like you can't. It's pretty hard to hide what you're doing when you're the only person on the beach walking with a backpack.
And Justin Bieber's right there.
Yeah,
exactly. So the minute they see me, they should know what's going on. I don't get more than halfway down to where they are, where I already see a security guard kind of climbing down the rocks. And there's rocks everywhere. It's a break wall and another break wall. It's just all rocks and then a little bit of beach where the water is, So I'm walking down the beach. This guy's coming down the rocks. He's having a little bit of trouble coming down those rocks,
Yeah.
I gotta say. He gets onto the beach. He comes up to me, and I click record on my GoPro right away, right when I see this guy coming up. At least that's what I think I did.
No.
So I'm feeling real confident because I got the video running, and when the video's running and it's running, but they don't really see it, they don't know it's running, you get a bunch of confidence.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen. I mean, if a security guy's gonna give you a slap or a little punch, you're talking big bucks.
Exactly. So
not that you're wanting that to happen. You're wanting to get the pictures, obviously.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not expecting anything. I'm expecting the worst, hoping for the best.
Yeah.
So this guy comes up to me. He says the beach is closed. I'm sorry. We're filming a music video over here.
Yeah,
and
you
I
can't
said,
close the
okay.
beach.
I said, well, okay, I'm sorry, but I walk this beach all the time, and I know you guys can't close the entire beach. I'm just going to walk down here to the break wall and check out what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And he says, no, you can't do that. I says, yes, I can do that. He says, no, we've got permits. And I said, well, you can't have permits from the water line. It's called the mean high tide line. All beaches have this rule where the water comes up and then resides back. That's called the mean high tide line. Everything is legal from there. You can't permit that. It's public land from that point on.
Yeah.
And the break wall that goes out into the ocean from there is all public land as well. So I know this. I know this is legal. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to go check out what you guys have to do, what you guys are doing out here. He says, well, it's all COVID. This is all COVID tested. Everybody's tested here. You're not tested, and I don't want you getting close to anybody. And I said, don't worry, I will not get close to anybody. I promise you.
Yeah.
He says, well, I still can't let you go. And I said, well, you're going to have to physically grab me and prevent me from going over there because I'm going right now. And he said, I'm not going to do that. And I said, well, thank you very much for being, for being kind about that. I'm gone. So I start walking past him. He starts following me. Meanwhile, he's just yelling in the back of my ear saying, you can't go, you can't go. I ignore him at this point. I go up on the break wall. I look just to the left of me, and they're filming right there, just in this little kind of, nook on the other side of the break wall on the beach. They're just filming in this little nook right there. And Justin's there, and he's boxing. He looks like Rocky Balboa, and he's sitting there boxing on the beach, So I think to myself, I need to get this.
Absolutely.
Because this is good. Even if this is the only thing I get, which will probably be the only thing I get, because the minute I bust out my camera, these guys are going to know exactly what I'm doing, and it's going to be on from there.
Yeah, they're gonna like move him all over the place to places where you can't see. They could bust out the mirrors, bring out the shades, and just play silly buggers all day long.
What they don't understand though is I've been in this identical situation maybe a half a dozen times with other productions. One that comes off the top of my head, Alessandra Ambrosio, on that Christmas shoot that she did when she was singing for Love Magazine. It was the identical situation, but there wasn't a security guard blocking me. It was just a getting to the right spot to get her.
Yeah.
So when I went on the break wall with this guy's following me on the break wall, and I've grown up around there. I know how to walk on rocks. I know how to jump through rocks. I know how to jump, go from rock to rock to rock. I'm an ex-surfer. I know exactly what to do with these rocks. So I'm kind of just nimble going through all these rocks, and this guy's stumbling all over the place. I finally get to a spot where I can nail Biebs. I pull out my camera, and this guy starts freaking out, right?
Wow.
Trying to block me, but I'm all the way out, leaning out over the water pretty much. I picked a spot in the rocks where the rocks jut out further than where he can go, where he is. He needs to be on the rock where I am to be able to block me.
Perfect.
So he's leaning out over the rocks. I'm expecting this guy to fall in any time, and which would be hilarious for the video, Plus, he's talking all sorts of shit, and especially the minute I bust out my camera, he's saying, "Why'd you lie to me? Why did you lie to me?" And I'm saying, "What? Lie about what? What are you talking about?" He's like, "Why didn't you tell me you were a photographer?" I'm like, first of all, where would that have gotten me if I said I was a photographer?
Yeah, nowhere.
It would have gotten nowhere. And second of all, I never lied to you. I just said I was coming over the break wall to see what you guys were doing. There was no lie. So once I start getting pictures and I start snapping pictures, it gets real personal. He starts, calling me an asshole, calling me a jerk, calling me names, but I'm nailing it. It doesn't matter. I'm switching from video. He's leaning out over the thing. He's trying to climb the rocks to get closer to me because he knows he can't block me where I am. And it's just a fumbling mess on his part,
Wow.
and I'm just playing him like I've done before. So I got a bunch of frames. I got all I needed. This girl comes out and starts dancing with him on the beach. I get that. And I hear over the radio, I don't care what you do. Bieber's security is heading down there to help you. We just need to stop him and get his memory card.
Oh,
That's exactly what they
shit.
said. Right. So I think to myself, okay, I'm at the end of the break wall. They can put up a whole roadblock at the end of this break wall, and I'm not getting through it until something happens. I've got my video, I've got, whatever, but I don't want to lose these pictures.
No, of
I don't
course
care
not.
what they do. You know what I mean?
I mean,
This guy's also been threatened.
yeah, they
Go ahead.
can't do anything to you, can they? I mean, they can say all they want, give me your card, but it's yours unless they physically grab it from you, which is stealing. They can't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm still getting out of there just on the hunch that maybe something could happen somewhere. You never know
Yeah.
these days. So, and this guy's threatening, call the cops. I've already said, go ahead and call the cops. They're not even going to come here. Don't worry about it, which they never did. So I put my camera in my bag. I start going back down the break wall, and this sea of security starts coming down the break wall to try and stop me from what I'm doing. And I'm just hopping rock to rock. These guys are coming from one side. I go to one side. They go to one side, and they're just falling all over the place. I finally get back onto the beach, and I start walking backwards. I start walking back along the beach. I look back, and there's 2 PAs, 4 security guards, all following me, all telling me to stop, all telling me to give up my memory card.
Ah,
We
jeez.
they're permitted. We want you to have this, and I'm telling them the same thing. I'm sorry, this was legit. I got the pictures. It's done. I'm out of here. Don't worry about it. You guys just relax. This isn't your job. Blah blah blah. So they follow me down the whole beach. There was one point actually where I knew where my car was up and over the far part of the break wall, and I just darted up over the break wall, just hoping that they would, try and follow me up over it. And I got in my car and backed out and started going before they could even get up and over the break wall, which is hilarious.
I mean, like, why are they making such a big deal of it, though? I mean,
I have no idea. I was wondering the same thing because as they were following me, I just kept hearing the same thing, like, don't let him go. Don't let him get away. We need his card. These pictures are, these pictures mean so much to Justin. We need his card. This and that, which it wasn't even that great,
yeah, come on, guy.
But all I'm thinking at this point is Chris Martin. It was the
Oh, of
same type of thing.
course.
It was the same type of thing that Chris Martin was saying. Like, we don't want these pictures out before the video comes out. We don't want these pictures out.
Oh, shit. So
So,
you're thinking maybe there could be a little payoff.
well, I wasn't even thinking that. I was just thinking of Chris Martin not wanting the pictures to come out before the video because that's the way they were saying it.
Yeah.
So I back out and I start leaving, and there's only one way out of this place. So as I'm leaving, this SUV pulls up alongside me, almost to like run me off the road, but not to run me off the road, but just to pull up next to me to try and talk. He's rolling down the window, and it's one of Justin's main security guys. And he's like, just pull over. Let's talk man to man. I need to talk to you. So Chris Martin has kind of set in my head at this point. And I thought, okay, I'll pull over. And I said, listen, you behave, dude, because I'm going to do it on video. And he says, no, don't do it on video. Don't do it on video because I want to talk to you about some things, but I will, this is man to man. You can trust me. I said, okay, fine. I still ended up recording the video. So I end up talking to him. He tells me the whole side of his, we don't want these pictures out. We don't want these pictures out before the movie or before the video comes out. I said, okay, fine. That's okay. If you don't want these pictures out, you have to buy them. You have to buy them from me.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. And it starts at 10 grand.
Boom.
He says, okay, I'll take this back. I'll take this back to Scooter. And he's like, Scooter, if he doesn't want these pictures to come out, Scooter's got ties everywhere. If he doesn't want these pictures to come out, these pictures won't come out. And I said, yeah. We'll see about that.
Right.
Just tell him. Go ahead.
Not just like, what the fuck do these guys... Who do they think they are? You know, that's ridiculous. Why is he saying that to you? It's not threatening at all. You know that, like, Scooter Braun, he's not going to stop your pictures going to the Mail Online or these magazines. Like, that's just
Well,
ridiculous.
and why would he? Why would he? I mean, I understand the whole artistic value of this to maybe Justin and the director maybe trying to keep this a secret or whatever, but it only does good for the
Of
video.
course.
It's only gonna entice the viewers to want to see this video
Oh,
more.
boy.
So so I said, fine, this is the deal. If you want to buy the pictures off of me, I will license them to you. I will sell them to you. Tell them they've got 5 hours to decide. Or if another photographer shows up, then they're gone.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
mean, that could ruin the whole thing. Somebody else shows up, and you're going to have to get those pictures out as quickly as possible. It becomes a race at that point between you and
Exactly.
whoever else were to show up, if they were to show up.
So we left on good terms. I gave him my card. I said, contact. They said, okay. I waited around a little bit. They changed locations. Well, they actually shot a couple more scenes, which I got a little bit more video and a couple more pictures, which no one bothered me. And then they switched locations. And when they went to the second location, when they were just parking all the trucks and parking all the Winnebagos for the second location, I saw another photographer show
Oh,
up.
fuck.
So I immediately sent out the pictures. The deal was off at that point. And I know this other photographer, good guy. And I knew he was going to get something on this next shoot that they were going to do, but I didn't really care at that point. I actually ended up leaving because I didn't want to stick around till 6 o'clock at night
Yeah, I
when
mean,
they
you've
were
been
going to
shooting
shoot
it all
it, the
day
low
already.
light. Yeah. So I ended up leaving, and the guy ended up getting some shots. He did get some clean shots of Bieber, but it ended up probably bringing down the value of my pictures just a little bit. But I still think my pictures did better, and they will do better just because they were a little bit cleaner, and the situation was a little different. So that was my exciting Bieber story, and I haven't had that kind of an interaction with security or a production in a long time. So it got my blood pumping, and it was fun,
No,
man.
it
I
sounds
tell you.
like it. It sounds like a lot of fun, when playing games like that and having people chase you, and it does make it fun. It's nice when it's not just easy sometimes as well, and you do have to work for it. And there was a bit of cat and mouse going on, and that video sounds quite fun as well. Like, are we going to be seeing that up on the IGTV on the Nostra as well? Did the video come out okay of, like, you and the security interactions?
No,
Oh.
no. So, I have this problem, Jedi. Okay. It's an issue that I've had for years and years and years, even before I even did this business, of pressing record or pressing the button. And for some reason, it just doesn't start recording. Or
Oh.
normally what happens is I press stop. I usually start recording and I press stop when I'm supposed to be pressing record, and I get it backwards,
Yeah.
because this camera's on my side over here. I can't, when I press the button, I don't check it again to see if it's recording. So me pressing the button thought I was starting it, but I did not start it. And I didn't get any of that interaction on the break wall, which I'm super upset about because it was so
Ah.
good. And I apologize to the listeners that I can't show this to you, but I did get the interaction of the security guard and I talking about the negotiations of the deal, which I will put up on the Instagram. And I did get some of the footage back and forth from the set itself, which I've already put up on the Instagram just as a little entice for future episodes, which you may have seen so far. But yeah, I didn't get the action I really wanted to, and it just sucks, man.
Well, you know what? Never mind. It still sounds like a fun day. You got some good pictures of Biebs in his tidy whities, his Y fronts.
Well, and they also got pictures of him in his tidy whities like 2 days later, like clean, him with his like arms up downtown LA, which I had that info too, but I wasn't driving downtown for that.
No, I mean, you've already shot him. You don't need to be driving all over town when you've already got a good set of the Biebs. Yeah. Don't stop believing.
Yeah. I was so much of a believer that day.
Oh boy, that's funny, man.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Okay.
Because I've spent so much time downtown lately that has not paid off.
Right.
That I just didn't want to go back again after I'd already shot this thing, and done it. But I had some info this week of a decent set that looked really, really juicy, which was Chris Pine, Olivia Wilde,
Ooh.
Harry Styles.
Harry Styles, hello.
Harry Styles in a movie.
Harry.
And the minute you see Harry Styles, you know you got to check it out.
Of course.
It was a movie called Don't Worry, Darling. Supposed to be a thriller. Directed by Olivia Wilde. I think this is maybe her second or third movie that she's directed. Maybe second.
Shit.
Yeah, thriller. That's what they're calling it.
Huh.
And it's in a spot downtown where I've done before. So I had one of those where I knew what to do. It's in a parking lot across the street from, what's that? Anyway, one of the old nightclubs that's been there since the 20s. And they always have to walk across the street.
Okay, that's nice.
The base camp is across the street. They have to walk across the street to go to the set. They're not going to take them in a van or anything like that because it's too close. So I show up there. I see how it's going down. Huge production, tons of trailers, big base camp. They're shooting in another location, not even the location I thought they were going to be shooting. They were shooting at another location at the Los Angeles Theater, which I've shot at before, but it's really difficult to get. But there is a parking structure in between both the base camp and the location they were shooting at, where I can go from one side of the parking structure to the other and maybe get some shots either way. When I showed up there, I saw another photographer. As I cruised around a little bit and as I saw the set progressing, I saw him leave.
Okay.
Don't know if he was leaving for good. So I went to this parking structure where I know it's the only place to get shots. I ended up getting some shots of Olivia when she came out. She's, real nice, 1920s or 30s, maybe 40s, maybe red hair, just, looking really, really, really good for the role. Then they went to the other side for the other theater shots and then to the base camp. And I ended up getting some shots of them there. As I'm sitting there waiting for them, because they went in for a rehearsal and I'm waiting for them to come back to their trailer, they called the entire cast to the rehearsal, which was Harry Styles. And when I tried to shoot him, because I was down on the street when I first saw them going across to there, I tried to get him. He immediately sees me. Nobody else sees me. He spots me from a mile away, puts a sweatshirt over his head, and darts to the set.
So right? He's looking up then, because you're still up in this parking structure, right?
No. See, I came down from the parking structure because I heard Harry was coming to set.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to get him just good. I didn't even care about anybody else. I just wanted to get him good.
Yep.
Right. So I came down from the parking structure, went across the street, and I waited for him. And when he popped out, I pulled out my camera. I was hiding in a spot where I usually get these people before, and no one's ever really seen me. But he spotted me right away, darts across the street with a sweatshirt over his head. And of course, he probably told some people that I was there at that point, but it didn't matter. I went back to the parking structure because when they walk back from the set, that's where the shots are for the parking structure.
Right.
But I'm shooting through these little 2-inch cracks in this vent at the top of this parking structure. So I'm shooting down, really elevated down on the targets.
Yeah.
And it's through just a vent of like 6 or 7 gaps, and I could shoot through each one of the gaps. But it's one of those where you're, shooting through those, and it's catching the focus on everything. You got to get it right in between, right in between the things to get the focus right. So you could even have a great shot right there, but it won't even focus right, and then you're 2 seconds late for getting the good shot.
Oh man, that's tricky.
Anyway, so when I'm waiting for them to come back, I'm sitting there. I'm just listening on the radio. I'm sitting down the parking lot a little bit. I'm not even where the vent is. And I see another photographer roll by me to go down and check the vent of where I was looking.
So they wanted to shoot from exactly the same position you were at. It's
the only position to shoot from.
Wow.
It's the only position.
So they've obviously shot stuff from there before as well then.
Not at all. What it is he eliminated everything else, which I've done in the past for years. And I know exactly where to go. He eliminated all the other spots to go to and ended up where I ended up because that's where we end up because it's the only shots to get.
Oh, that's funny. But I mean, could you not just stand your ground and like hold your position and shoot through through the vent, which like there wouldn't be enough room for the other guy to like stand next to you and do the same thing?
No, the vent is 10 feet long.
Oh, shit.
so he can be right next to me anywhere he wants on both sides.
Oh, that's super frustrating.
Yeah, and I'll post pictures up on the Instagram. I took pictures from my iPhone, from the vantage point to show exactly what it looked like from our angle. So I'll put those up as this thing airs and so the viewers can see. So the cast ended up coming back. We both ended up getting shots, but we both give to the same agency, one of the same agencies. So we agreed to just go in on this together, where I was going to do video and he was going to shoot some pictures. This is after I had already got a couple of pictures. So we ended up doing that. Everything looked great. We had a bunch of stuff. Chris Pine showed up to the set. We got him. We got him getting a COVID test before he went on to set, which was great. We ended up getting Olivia coming back from set, which she was just full in costume, just a mask on her face, but we could see everything else.
Perfect.
A bunch of the other little actors that were in the movie that are kind of low budge. It was insane. It was good.
Did you get Harry good in the end? Or was he?
We did get Harry. We did. He was never good. He was never really good after that. But we did end up getting a lot more of him and a little bit of video. So we decided, okay, we have one last little stand to do, which we're going to go down on the street, back to where I was, where Harry saw me in the beginning, and we're just going to get all of them as they get called back to set.
Oh,
right?
so the discretion was out of the window. You were just going to blast them, pretty much, right?
Exactly. We're just going to savage them and show our cards. When we get over there to the other side, there's two other paps already sitting there. Another third shows up.
Oh, bummer.
So there's 5 or 6 of us that are all standing there waiting from all different agencies. But we all know each other. We're all on good terms with everybody. So it was kind of like a little reunion, and we just plucked them off as they went and let the pictures ride how they rode.
Oh, there you go.
And it was one of those times where there's a thing in our business, listeners, Jedi knows it well, that we call double dippers.
There is.
There were people, photographers, that would go out and they would shoot a bunch of pictures and they would spread their pictures out to multiple agencies.
Yeah.
And they would try and dip into each agency. And all in all, that brought down the value of our pictures. Over the years and years and years that they started doing it and the years that they kept doing it, it brought down the value on our pictures. And it's one of the reasons why our business went to such shit, is because of that. Well, in this situation, I had already given my word to one of the guys that I would give to an agency, but this is before we saw other photographers show up.
Yeah.
Now, when other photographers show up and there's other photographers there that give to other agencies that you give to, I knew that some of my pictures that I got before I was with this other photographer had a better market value with another photographer there and another agency than the pictures that I promised to give him all around. So I did end up taking my video that I shot with him, that I promised him that I would put in with him. I put that through that agency, and the pictures that he got while I was doing the video, because I couldn't get pictures at that time, he would put with me.
Copy.
The other pictures that I took before and after, those went to another agency, which I believed had the better market value. So call me a double dipper, Jedi, but I think I did it with a good intention, and I think I did it with the best interest of every photographer that was there.
No, I get it. I understand this. I understand the situation. There's nothing wrong with that. No, not at all. But I mean, they used.
So I have your blessing.
I remember like situations like years gone past where it would be me, like on a job exclusive, and one other photographer would turn up, and yet you'd see pictures with 4 different agencies, knowing that I'd only given to one. And that used to be really frustrating because that would lower the value
that's
ridiculously. And
horrible. That's where it got wrong.
Yeah, even then, the chap who gave 2 or 3 ways was chopping his money into pieces as well. Whereas if it just stayed as 2 agencies, we'd have both made decent coin. But him chopping it all out like that, it fucked both of us really. And some of these guys weren't too intelligent back in the day.
Yeah, and you never knew why they did it. You never knew why they couldn't figure out why their pictures were, why the market value went down so much when they would give to multiple agencies in a situation like that. What I was doing is not even near what that was, but they would do that all the time back then, which was weird.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, you
But
had,
that is the end of my weekly wrap
I
up. They were
mean,
two good stories, and I'm
yeah,
sorry it took so long.
no, that was great. That was really good. The the Bieber story had me on the edge of my seat, as I'm sure some of you listeners were the same. That was exciting stuff. You seen you seen the Beckinsale, Kate Beckinsale news this week?
No, what happened to her?
She
I'm usually keeping up on this, but I'm busy these days.
mate, she kicked our friend Goody Grace to the curb.
Shocker!
Yeah, she is done with the 22-year-old, or,
I wonder
or
why.
however old he was. So, she'd actually be good to work again now. Any time that Beckinsale is single, she is a cougar out on the prowl,
Wow, yeah, she is.
looking for her next prey.
Yeah, it
So,
could even be a pap.
well, you never know. But during these COVID times, I'm not sure whether she's going to be out prowling around or not. But she'd be a good one to watch right now. When she's single, she likes to play around.
Mingle.
Yeah, exactly. She likes to mingle a lot. So it wouldn't surprise me if by the time this podcast comes out, there's been a set of her with like an 18-year-old on her arm.
Well, she has been getting younger every time,
I
right?
know she gets older, but the guys stay the same age or get a little bit younger.
She gets older, they stay the same
Yeah,
age.
good girl. Good on you, Kay.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, I've told you the Kate Beckinsale story. We've talked about the Kate Beckinsale story, right? Of my chances with Kate Beckinsale.
No.
Oh, really? Oh, we'll have to save that for another episode. But I did hear some news today, which was interesting, which we can lead into another episode with the Kate Beckinsale story with this. Okay. It'll kind of be a teaser.
I like it.
Okay.
I like a tease. I like a
So
tease.
I don't know if you heard about Brad Pitt's recent ex
Uh,
and the story behind that.
are you going Aniston, Jolie, or this
No,
25-year-old whatever
the
she was that
25-year-old.
was also
Yeah.
married to like some old man, some old German man or
Yeah.
something? That was a weird story.
Yeah. It's a weird story. So supposedly she was married to this dude, and I guess they had a pass.
Yeah, an open relationship.
Well, I heard it was more like a pass. Like she said, okay, who's your pass, right? And my wife and I have said the same thing when we're joking around in our private life. We've
Yeah.
always said, who's your pass, right? And I said a long time ago when I first met my wife was Kate Beckinsale.
Ooh.
And she said Johnny Depp at the time. I think she might have changed her mind by now, and she might have a new pass by now.
I'd imagine it.
I I wonder why, right?
Yeah.
I think it actually might be Kike Hernandez on the Dodgers at this point.
I love
But
Kike.
I know, right? So do I actually. And but I guess in this same relationship, I guess Brad Pitt was her pass, her hall pass.
No shit.
With the husband. So I guess she met him somewhere, did whatever, and called out the husband on the hall pass. So I guess they had their little romp for a few weeks or whatever, however long it lasted. She ended up going back to the husband, and Brad kicked her off.
That's funny.
So the Beckinsale situation with me is similar to that, but I will have to save the story for another time.
Wow.
Because it's too long of a story, and I'm not going to talk this whole episode.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to tune in next week and see what happened.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Well, on that note, listeners, if that isn't going to keep you coming back, I don't know what will.
I know, right? It's a good story too, so don't miss it.
There you go. Well,
and if you've seen who Kate Beckinsale has dated in the last 3 or 4 years, you'll know that anybody has a chance with Kate Beckinsale.
I mean, who hasn't she dated in the last 3 or 4 years?
Right? So stay tuned, listeners.
Yeah. Wowzers. On that note, everybody, I guess we'll wrap it up and we'll call it a day. I'd like to apologize for anybody we've insulted on this episode. Not that we have, I'm sure. Well, maybe Bieb security guards. They sound like a bunch of boobs. But if we have offended anybody...
I told them, though, Jedi, I did tell them, though. I told everybody. I told the PAs. I told everybody following me that day. I told them all. I said, you guys, if you want to get caught up on this whole thing, go to the Paparazzi podcast and listen in. I'll tell you the whole story about what happened here.
Oh, that's funny.
So
I hope they listen.
I hope they're listening. I hope all of them are listening. Yes.
Yeah. What's up, Biebs?
So I do. What's up, Biebs? What's up, Bieb security?
Yeah.
I do apologize to you guys for that day, but everything was legit, and I'm sorry. Sorry, I got a bad connection going here.
Yeah, it's good again.
All right. Well, let's cut it off before the connection gets worse. I think we've done enough damage today. Don't you think?
There you go. Let's do it.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Don't be shy. Let us know how you guys are liking the video podcasts on YouTube.
Yep. Like and subscribe on the Social Nostra YouTube page. Like and follow Social Nostra on Instagram. And keep listening to the podcast. Keep downloading as well as watching the videos. And welcome, listeners, to the PPC, the Paparazzi podcast. I am Mark, you double dipper.